After my 12-year-old son Tim was killed in the 1993 bombing of Warrington by the IRA, my wife and I made a very major panorama program for the BBC, and during the course of making the program we were taken to a peace farm in Northern Ireland where an organisation brought together young Irish Catholics, Protestants, Unionists, Republicans for weekend conferences. We spent a day there watching them, listening to them, and we realised that this was a very interesting enterprise where, even though they held diametrically opposed views about various subjects, whether it was politics or their faith or the future for Northern Ireland, they were all united in the cause of peace, and they all recognised there was no future for Northern Ireland's peace in using armed force. A while after that, we decided as parents, Wendy and I, that we should try and, in some kind of way, replicate what we'd seen. So we formed a charity in 1995, and we started off with one simple program. We called it the Colin Parry Scholarship, and it brought together young people from Warrington and Dublin and Belfast. And it was a week-long program, and it looked at the causes of conflict, and particularly the causes of conflict between Ireland, North and South, and Ireland and Britain. The experience was so valuable and so worthwhile that triggered our thoughts about turning it into a much bigger enterprise. The only way we could do that, however, was to have our own dedicated facility, and in 1999, having successfully raised a considerable amount of capital funding, we built this Peace Centre that we're sitting in now today. And the Peace Centre is now a recognised facility, not just in Warrington, but I would say nationally and perhaps internationally as well. Here in the centre we provide a range of learning programmes for young people of all ages, from this country and from further afield, young people of different faiths, different races, different political persuasions. And we work with those young people to try to help them to understand that violent conflict cannot be the answer to any conflict which affects them directly. Alongside that, we also work with victims of terrorist attacks, and indeed victims who were members of the armed forces, who sustained injuries or witnessed their friends being injured or killed in the course of that conflict with paramilitary organisations in Northern Ireland. So the twin track approach we have is to work with young people and to work with adults. And we try increasingly now to spread the message of non-violent conflict resolution away from our Northern Irish roots and to the new issues which affect people in this country and beyond. And I would say those new issues are the issues of interfaith, inter-race violence, as witnessed by 9/11, 7/7 in London, and any number of other international terrorist attacks, which have been, more often than not, triggered by Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda franchise groups. So in the 18 years since we formed the charity and in the 13 years since we built the Peace Centre, we've moved our operations onto a huge scale from where we began as a very simple one programme charity. We've also gained a good deal of recognition for the quality of our work, the contribution our work makes to resolving conflict at community level. We are held in high regard by government in this country and in Ireland. We're also held in high regard by people in this town and beyond. So if I was to say, have I and has my wife made Tim and his memory remain alive along with Jonathan Ball's, I would say yes, we have. I think we've done a fabulous job of enshrining their memories and their faces and their names in the work that we do here at the foundation. Our ambitions are to go far beyond where we are now. We desperately want to get involved in international conflicts where we can bring the expertise and the experience that we've gathered over these 18 years of operating to conflicts overseas. Not because we believe we know best, but because we know the model that we've developed works very well and succeeds. And it does turn young people who may be tempted to get involved in violent acts. It helps to turn them away from that choice. And I think that's a very powerful legacy in Tim's name and in Jonathan's name. So the fact that our roots are in the Northern Ireland conflict is simply where we began. Where we aim to be is to be an international peace-building charity. And I would say through this film that our relevance is universal, that the risks of terrorism now in its latest, most modern form are so devastating and can reach so far that governments alone cannot resolve these problems. Military force alone can't resolve these problems. But charities like ours, working at street level and community level, can make an enormous difference. And I would say that whether you're looking at this from the perspective of just a normal human being, or whether you're involved in conflict, or whether you're in the military, or whether you're in government, or whether you're running a company or a big corporation, we are relevant to you. We're relevant to everybody. Peace is the most pressing human issue that's out there now. And parents up and down the land and in many countries worry about the future for their children. And we can and do make a difference. So I would encourage you to support us as a very relevant charity, wherever you are and whatever you do.